Hello my friends, welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, January 31st, 2023. This is Jennifer. It's hard to believe it's been an entire month already this year. Because it's been a month since the beginning of the year, it's also been a month since I had surgery, and that's going well. I have a checkup on Thursday. I don't have any news for you today other than I did try my shoe and it went okay, but I was really swollen the next day, so I had to take a break, wear my boot, and that's just par for the course when you have foot problems. I've been here before, and it's all good. The good news is I have been able to do a lot of stuff sitting down or with my leg propped up, because I'm expert level at doing stuff on one leg at this point, after all the things. And I have sorted tons of scraps. I had a big bin of scraps, and I keep a big bucket, like for just a big Lowe's bucket, that when I have scraps that I don't want to go back in my stash, I toss them in there, and then eventually they get sorted. So I sorted all of those. My whole cutting table was just filled with little mountains by color. I've kept 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the piles, and the rest I've separated out. Last week I showed you guys the picture of the quilt that I grew up with and told you I wanted to recreate it because I don't have that quilt. I would love to have something similar. I always thought it was such a cool quilt because of the red sashing. I love the red sashing. I did a basic design. I figured out what I want my dimensions to be. I'm just going to string piece these. I'm going to use a foundation. I have lots of different bits and pieces of muslin. And in fact, I found enough pieces in those scraps to make about 20 6.5-inch squares. They're going to be 5.5-inch finish. I wanted a little extra just to give me some leeway. And you're going to notice there's some actual muslin, and then I have some like really pale just cotton, and then I have a white cotton. I'm going to use whatever I have for the foundations that I'm not going to use otherwise. Haven't even gone through my yardage yet, so this is just to get started. I did do a tiny bit of sewing when I was wearing my shoe just to see if I could, and I could, but I'm pretty sure that's why my foot was so swollen the next day. So no sewing for now, but I still have a ton of prep work to do on this quilt, and I want to keep working on that. And it's stuff I can do either sitting down or with my knee propped on a stool so that I'm not standing on my foot. I want to have these colors throughout the quilt, and I'm going to have one colored strip in each string block, and then the rest is going to be low value or neutrals. So these are my colors. I've pulled yellows. A lot of these were scraps, and then I pulled a few from my stash and some from my 2.5-inch strips. That's true for all of these piles. Corals, and you're gonna probably kind of recognize these fabrics. Some of them were in my niece's quilt from a couple years ago. Some of them were in the quilt that I made for my surgeon who did my last surgery, because that surgery changed my life. This was a small surgery, very small in comparison to that one, and that really was life-changing for me, so I made her a quilt as a thank you gift. Also these colors, and that was actually from my my last surgeon's quilt. And did I show you these? I don't even know. Let's do it anyway. And then I have my big pile of neutrals. These are almost entirely from the scraps or the 2.5-inch strips. I did make 2 blocks just to get an idea if it was going to work the way I want. And this is one. And this is one. And in the design, I'm going to put them sort of in like a star so that I have a continuous pattern. The original quilt wasn't like that. They were just kind of mishmash. You might have, 2 like this and then have them like this, or, whatever. But I want a little bit of a continuous pattern, and since this is an inspirational kind of project, it's recreated for me, I've decided to do that. There isn't going to be a pattern for this. I'm just starting with the center, and then just whatever I have is whatever I have, so they're in different widths. I want to say to our Sarah in Houston, a whole bunch of my neutrals came out of one of the scrap bags that she gave me that I had set aside because I thought they were great neutrals. There's a whole lot of that in here, which is always nice to be able to incorporate a friend's fabric into your quilt. I did have one little show and tell from photo scanning that I meant to show you guys last week, but I hadn't brought it upstairs. So this is my sticker album from 4th grade. So I was in 4th grade in 1982, 1983. So This guy's got some years on him. This is 40 years old. And I wanted to show you some of my stickers. These are Snoopy, they're like nameplates that you should put in books, but apparently 9-year-old me didn't know that. And then I have some what look like teacher stickers. And these are slightly miraculous. These are all scratch and sniff, all the peanut themed ones, as are most of these. The peanuts still smell like peanuts. And if you guys have not read the Anthropocene Reviewed, there is a chapter on scratch and sniff stickers. Highly recommend it because I couldn't stop thinking about it when I realized these still have a scent. Very fun. I've got Halloween stickers, of course, and then 99% sure these were Valentine cards, like the little Valentine cards. These are all Michael Jackson stickers. You can see the shadows here. I had used the rest of this as a photo album when I was a kid, so there were photos in here, but I have scanned them and stored them separately. But what I do have is some stuff in this like handy little folder that's in the back. Vintage Chuck E. Cheese bumper sticker. I am absolutely sure this came from 5th grade. It's the only time I ever went to Chuck E. Cheese. We had a lock-in when I was a Girl Scout. And that's literally the only time I went to Chuck E. Cheese as a child because it wasn't anywhere near where I lived. And it just wasn't kind of the thing that we did when I was growing up. I also found possibly the most 80s thing in my entire album is this awesome Pegasus and this great little rainbow. And this is like a velvety. I had a ton of puffy stickers, but I don't know where those are, where they went. Did they get thrown away? Did I stick them on things? I have no idea. I thought they were in this album, but they are definitely not. And this one is super fun. I have a Pac-Man. Doesn't even have like a trademark on it or anything. I think this came with my Atari that I got in 5th grade. I'm pretty sure this is a 40-year-old sticker from when I got an Atari. Some Family Circus stickers. If you guys remember Family Circus, this was probably you send 50 cents and box tops and get stickers because it says Frito-Lay at the bottom. And I did that kind of thing all the time. I was a big fan of the mail-in stuff. I also had some Walmart photo processing. So one of the cameras I had growing up was a disc camera, and this is what the film looked like. So it was a really flat camera, and you would pop this in and take your picture. And it was in I think it was like in a little cartridge, because obviously it wouldn't have been like this because your film would have been exposed, but you'd send it off and you would get your pictures back. And I just thought it was awesome that I still have one of these. I also found a York mail-in that has the address that I had through 5th or 6th grade, and I didn't have it after that. So clearly I mailed this off when I was like in elementary school. Yeah, that was really fun. I got my first camera when I was 7. I got another camera because for whatever reason that one was hard to replace the film in. I got another camera when I was like 8 or 9. And then I got another camera when I was in high school, which was the disc camera. I've always loved to take photos. That's why there are so many of them. And I literally have photographs going back to when I was 7 years old that I personally took. I found a photo of me at Christmas receiving a camera. It was the second camera I got. And I also had, when I populated the timeline, I was talking about this last week, when I populated the timeline, all the pictures I took on that camera came up at the same time. So I had the pictures I took on the camera plus the picture of me receiving the camera, which I will share with you guys at the end of this video. That's going to be it for me. You guys have a really, really wonderful week. Have a crafty week. I would love to see what you're working on. I'd love to see your videos. I'd love to see your comments. Let me know what you think about my show and tell, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.